Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the Robot Damacy Gundam GP03 Ver Anime. Now once again, these were one of those figures that I missed pre-orders, and so could not really review at the time of its release. But once again, I was able to get a second chance, and now I am reviewing it. Alright, so the GP03, as we can see, was pretty much the last Gundam unit we saw from the Stardust Memory series, which was also very well known for the Dendrobium. So once again, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are still wanting a Robot Damacy version of that and as well. But once again, we already have an HD version of it. And once again, I guess the main reason why Bandai isn't really releasing it would be the practicality, because it's such a gigantic kit. Even the HD kit was very gigantic to the point where it was very impractical of displaying, storing it in. So once again, I guess they don't really want to do that too often. But that's just my guess. So anyway, let's get on to the review. So once again, after I review this, I'll be pretty much done with the GPO series. And once again, the only thing that's technically remain would be the GPO 00. The GPO 0 and the GPO 4. But once again, we're not really even sure if they're going to even make a Robot Damacy figure of those as well. At least the GPO 4 is getting some attention, because we even got a Reborn's 100 kit as well. If they ever release an HUC kit, I'm willing to try that out. And once again, for the GPO 0, once again, very low chances. The only thing I can actually know that exists as a product would be the Gundam Converge version, which I actually do own. Anyway, so let's see what we got in terms of components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the figure itself, looking very nice. The proportions looks very. I'm really satisfied with the proportions as well. And once again, I should mention that there won't be any comparisons with the HGUC version, because I do not own that kit yet, and I'm not even sure if I have any plans on getting that kit as well. Anyway, so in terms of components, so we have all the thrusters and boosters already attached to the figure right off the box as well. There's nothing else you technically need to attach to the figure that's like essential, like the V-fins or the antenna, because the previous ones, for example, you had to attach an antenna onto the head. This one already comes installed, so no need to worry about that. Alright, so other than that, currently I am using the multi-purpose hands, and here are the effect parts that you get. So number one, let's go over the typical stuff. Number one, we get the typical thruster effect parts. We've seen these multiple times before. And number two, we get some multiple beam saber effect parts. So number one, we get the regular length size beam saber effect parts, which you can attach onto the beam saber hilt. So I'm just going to take that off now, or if I can. And then we get this one, which is mostly meant for the beam rifle, but if you want to, you could use it with the beam saber hilt if you want to do so. And we get the much more gigantic version one as well, so you can use this onto the beam saber or onto the beam rifle, your choice. And this one definitely is meant to be used together with the effect part to get that burst effect. So don't forget to use that. And then once again, one of my favorite ones is the curved beam saber effect parts. I actually really like this one as well. So I'm just going to take this off, just because there's something I do need to mention regarding this. And then here are the other stuff that you should be getting as well. So number one, we do get the typical beam rifle. So this is the exact same beam rifle as the GPO1 uses, so no need to worry about that. And because of that, we still do get the beam effect part. So yeah. And then we get a additional V-fin. So once again, in case if you break one or you lose yours, you always have a spare one. So that's a very good thing. I'm always thankful for extra V-fins like that. And here we have a bunch of hands here. So other than the multi-purpose hands, what you get, of course, is the semi-open hand. You have the beam saber holding hand. I believe this is technically one of those multi-purpose hands, but this is more meant for holding the beam saber in a slightly more angle. Here we have the trigger finger hands, and then we get the fully open hands as well. So we've seen these before. We get the shield, once again, very nice and practical looking shield as well. And then you do get 2 more extra ammo clips for the beam rifle. And like in the show, you do have the gimmick of folding the shield like this. Although I'm not really too sure why you would be have the shield folded up at all times, but still. I do like the shield as well. And then to connect the shield, we do get this adapter here, so all you need to do is just plug it into the arm. Now the manual does mention that you can technically hold these handle looking things, but once again, very impractical for that as well. And then we get its unique bazooka, so a very nice looking bazooka, very long, and then we do have the ammo pack or clip or magazine that can actually pop out from the back, so that's that. And then like in the series, you can actually fold the bazooka like this. Now technically, or if I remember correctly, now these bazookas are always stored in the dendrobium folded up. So he would pull these out like this, and then you will fold them outwards like that. And then just to give you guys an idea, the handle does move forward and backward, and then you have this bottom section that can also slightly slide forward and backward. So if you're having trouble holding the bazooka hand, connecting the handle to the hand, you can always adjust and make it easier, and then lock it into place like that. So yeah, you do get some options. And then these parts are kind of interesting. So I'll get into these later, but for now, I'll leave these for here. So these are actually meant for the side thrusters that are onto the that are on the waist area. So I'll get into these there when we're looking at there. All right, so let's see what we got. So let me just get off the rotating stand and see what the figure has to offer for us. All right, so once again, I do like the size and looks and details of this as well, so no complaints there. So let's start with the articulation here. So let's go see what the figure has. Let me just actually adjust the camera a bit. Sorry about that. There we go. So the head definitely looking good. Very a simple looking head as well. I don't really recall if the GP03 head has any like distinctive like design that, you know, that kind of stands out compared to others, but still, I think they did a really good job with the lining and the paint job as well. And the metallic green looks very well done. All right, so the head, once again, there's no separate antenna you need to attach, but there are like these small parts here, so do be careful not to break them off, so because they are very fragile. So once again, the head can go down that much, up not so much compared to like certain figures, but still that is enough for what it is. And then 360, I would say, let's see, yeah, 360 is possible as well. And then once again, we have all these linings and details going on here. Seems like I did do a custom job on a Gundam Converge figure, and I was worried that everything was going to look very like, you know, spotty because of these black areas. But once again, looking at this, that is pretty accurate. All right, and before we go to the arms, we have the backpack here. So the backpack, I believe this is technically part of the core fighter that is inside the main unit. So we have all these stuff going on here. So you have this that can go forward and backward like this, so up and down movement, and then you also have this flop. So yeah, you can adjust these thrusters. I believe these are on ball joints, so you do have a slight side-to-side wiggle going on here. Same goes for the ball. The thruster parts here, they are slightly on ball joints but stiff, and then you have these holes where you can attach the thruster effect parts. Now regarding the beam saber hilt, so if I can reach it, there we go. So you can actually open these sections up. So as I mentioned, you can move the entire part here, or you can move this part only like this. So you can go forward and backward if you want to do so. You can actually open these sections up. If I can open it properly, there we go. You can actually store your beam saber hilts inside there. So the way how you are supposed to store it, you have to plug it all the way back in. You can see there's a peg on the back. That's how you actually connect the beam saber hilt, and they just close in perfectly. So that is pretty cool. So that's something I just wanted to mention, was the beam saber hilts. So that's that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Now for the arms. So the arms, once again, you do get a forward and backward movement going on here, because instead of the shoulder joint move, the joint itself moving, the chest actually parts move, so you do get a forward and backward movement going on here. And then 360 twist is possible. Going to the side 90 degrees is also possible. And then 360 twist on the arm itself is possible. And then bend wise, you get a very nice bend going on here, no complaints there. And you still get your typical Robot Damacy style hands, meaning that the ball joint is on the arm and then the hand has the holes. Now, for those who know the GP03, one of the main gimmicks is the arm. So he can actually transform his arms into these claw forms. So what you do is you can fold this all the way forward, and then you can open this section up, which is kind of stiff on mine. So let me just be very careful. So there we go. Oh, nope, come on. There we go. You open this section up, and then you can extend the claw arm like that, and there you go. You have the claw arm ready to be used. Now, I do suggest you kind of open this section slightly up so that you do get more movement going on here, because if you close it up, you can't go a certain upwards. So yeah, either way, you have the claw arm that has another joint here. You can see there's two joints, one that is connected to this part, and then the other one that's on the other side. And the claw arm can also rotate. That's very nice. And then you can also open the claw arm like this, and then you can clamp on stuff. And then you can see there's a hole in peg system, so you can actually, you know, have a more sturdier connection. So that is pretty cool. I'm actually surprised they actually implemented this. Then again, I believe, now once again, I do not own the HD version, but I believe the HD version does also have something similar to that as well. or at least a mass grade. So yeah. Alright, so that is pretty much for the arms. Now let's get the main body here. So the main body, you do get a slight ab crunch movement going on here, but make sure all the stuff on the back aren't really blocking the way, because they can collide with certain parts and kind of lock it into place. So you do get a nice body movement. Going side to side is not going to be easy because there's all these stuff going on here on the waist section, so that's a no-go. So that's that. Now for the side areas, or the waist area, this is kind of interesting. So I always thought these parts would be connected to the side, but apparently if you look at here, the joints are actually on the back. So you have all these ball joints going on here. So once again, you have these parts going on. For you can go backwards as well. Forward, not so much. There's a limit until when you can go there because of the joint connection there. And then we have this part which also works as a kind of a side skirt, I guess. So you technically do have a side skirt, for those who are wondering, and front skirts do also move forward as well. So that's pretty cool. And then we have these additional flops that can also move up and down for some reason. Now here is kind of something interesting. So you can see there's a thruster part here, but there's no hole to attach a thruster effect part. So for that, they actually did something interesting. So you have to pop this section out. So same applies for the other side. So you can see this part is now empty. So, and I believe you attach this part. Now there is a left and right. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it. Try out the other part. So if you connect the right section here, now this will give you this part will technically block the thruster area, but will give you an extra hole. So in this hole, this is where you attach the thruster effect part. So I always thought this was kind of interesting. So yeah, a little bit odd, but I think they could have just drilled a hole there, but that's just my idea. Maybe there was a reason why they didn't do that. And despite all this, yes, because of this system, the back skirt does not move at all. So yeah. Alright, and now looking at the legs here, you can see the legs still have the same typical hinge systems, and also on the ball joint. So, but still, despite that, you do get a slight of a side swivel going on here, and then you're going forward should be no problem. And depending on the hinge area, you can kind of adjust this backwards. Also, despite what's going on, you do still technically are able to go backwards as well. And then bending wise, you get a very nice bend on the legs. And then feet wise, you get very nice feet. So you can go forward and backward like that. You get a very nice pivot joint, and then toe bends upwards as well. So yeah, you do get all the necessary articulation there. Oops, something popped out. But anyway, we've seen the basics of the articulation here. So I think I'll be right back with the equipment demonstration. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration going on here. So number one, I attached the shield going on here. So even while the shield is on the arm, you can still technically fold the shield while it's on the arm. So if you want to do so, still not sure why you want to do that, but still you are able to do that as well. And I definitely got the trigger finger hand and attached the bazooka, the style where like the Hyakushiki does, where you put the bazooka below the armpit going on here. But according to the manual, you are still able to do the typical shoulder on top of the shoulder holding style as well. So it's really up to your preferences. I'm just more used to the GP03 holding the bazooka like this because I play a lot of Gundam Battle Operation 2 as well. And once again, I replaced the original parts so I could attach the thruster parts as well. So these are the only areas that do require the other extension parts. But other than that, like the feet or onto the backpack, you are able to attach the thruster parts normally as well. And according to the manual, if you do have a specific bazooka effect part, you are able to attach it onto this one as well because the necessary ports are there as well. Alright, so once again, doing this pose wasn't too difficult as well, and then also thanks to the action base adapting port, you are able to hold it onto the action base as well. Alright, so we've seen the first demonstration here. I'll be right back with the second demonstration, and we will end it off there. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the final demonstration going on here. So at this point, holding the other weapons like the beam rifle or the beam saber onto the regular hands is pretty much, guaranteed. You can pretty much do that without no problems. I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering if the claw hands can hold the weapons, and the answer is technically yes. So once again, I am using both claw arms going on here. The other one claw arm is holding the beam rifle. So if you do want to do a firing pose with the claw arm, it is technically possible. However, if you look at the claw itself, you can see it's not able to fully clamp to the handle of the beam rifle. So you're going to need to be slightly careful for those to not slip out. Same goes to the beam saber. It cannot clamp fully. So once again, yeah. But yeah, with the claw arms, you can kind of extend your articulation of the arms. Although it may not look pretty, but still it is a functional, you know, thing. It is something that the GP03 is capable of doing. So it's really up to your preferences on what to do with it. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the review. So if there's anything I forgot to mention is that yes, the claw hands can technically hold the bazooka as well, but once again, being slightly more heavier, you might see the arms slightly fall down, or depending, if you don't want that to happen, you're going to need to, you know, adjust your angles and folding areas of each joint so that it doesn't happen. But still, it is technically possible. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. This was the review of the Robot Damashi Gundam GP03 Ver Anime. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. And if you're wondering, yes, I was able to successfully pre-order the Robot Damashi Gym Sniper Ver Anime as well. Basically the green gym ground type. Anyway, if you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. Until then, see you guys next time.